What's it like owning a boat here in the UK? Hey folks, Scully Nomad here. Really hope you are well, and an extra special welcome on board my Genosun Odyssey 40 sailboat. I've owned this boat for 6 years now, and I have loved absolutely every minute of it. When the sun is shining, the alcohol is flowing, it is absolutely wonderful being here, especially when you've got light winds and you can go out and do a little bit of sailing. I'm based in Cardiff, which is on the Bristol Channel, and we have the second largest tidal range in the world. This year I definitely want to do a lot more sailing than I have done before. I've done around 2,500 miles, but it wasn't really on this boat. I've done quite a few trips on this boat, but overall I want to use it a bit more. You know, it's going to be a case of single-handed most of the time, so that's going to be pretty interesting. So being in the Bristol Channel, we have the second largest tidal range in the world, and you're looking between 12 and 14 meters, so you get large volumes of water. It's not a case of you're just waiting for a weather window. You also have to pair that with the tide, which makes it very challenging to go out here. For a lot of my friends who are Monday to Friday workers, they get really excited for bank holidays only just to find that the tide or the weather or something has come up, and it's got to be kind of flexible in the situation. You know, a lot of them end up just going to party over the Keys. So it is a bit more frustrating to sail here in the channel as opposed to somewhere like down the south coast where you have much shorter tidal ranges. Now I'm going to start off with a little story about this beer right here. I managed to get the hammock out a little bit earlier because I enjoyed 1 hour of winter sun, and a few boats down was a guy hanging out there. I went and asked him some advice because I want to get my jib down because it needs cleaning. And since the guy's owned boats for many years, I went and approached him for some advice. So I'm going to get it down tomorrow and then take it home and clean it. While speaking to him, he offered me, not this one, but one before this, followed by this one. So what I'm getting at here is, do have nice community and nice people around, especially at my marina. When I was looking for sailboats and boat life and everything, I wasn't really thinking about the community and friendship aspect of it. I just wanted something which was going to be a nice boat to own and buy right and hold tight. So I'm actually sitting on board my Genosun Odyssey 40, and it is actually the first boat I've ever owned, and it probably will be the last one, because I didn't want to do the whole stepping up and experiencing the smaller boats and making my way up. I just wanted to do the right thing at the time, and I got this boat at an excellent price. The yacht club actually does a lot of social events, which is fantastic. So you do get to brush shoulders with a lot of different people here, and I'm in a couple of groups. So I got my kind of older people's group, which are, you know, around 20 years older than me, and then I've got my young friends group, which are about 10 years older than me, but their children are 10 years younger than me. So I'm kind of in this weird age range here. So that's been a very good plus of owning a boat, which has been really great because I've had some good times here. I really enjoy reading your comments, questions and feedback. After all, you know, although I just make videos as a hobby, ultimately it's for you. Now, I am only a boat owner. I'm not a sailor. I don't have any qualifications or anything, so I can only really share with you my own personal experience of owning this boat. Now, I read online quite a lot. The best time for your boat ownership is when you buy it and the day you sell it. For me, I have not found that at all. Now, I use the boat more as a kind of floating hotel room for myself. The original plan was wherever I brought the boat from, and whatever boat I end up buying in the end, as to take it down to Brighton, and the way I would help pay for the boat was using a mixture of obviously my income from event work. So I'm an agency worker for event companies. I work all over the UK, a lot of times in Birmingham, which is pretty much where I live. I live with my parents over there, but the plan originally was to take it down to Brighton, and then if I'm going on tour, I would do Airbnb out just before I head off and do afternoon tea. So basically do a package of, you know, people come on board, they have the afternoon tea, I show them the boat and everything, and then leave them on the weekend on there, and then they could just use the boat as kind of a sleeping and floating apartment. From there, because it's Brighton, you've got the south coast marinas, you can kind of marina hop down the south coast of the UK and ultimately go through the French canals into the Med, and then like the boat is kind of a seasonal cruising. So I'm spending a few months in the Med, a few months back and kind of navigate through that way. Now, owning a boat can be quite challenging, so like many boat owners, I do struggle with time management. Now, I'm just doing a swinging visit here. I wasn't actually going to come down this week. I just basically need some tools from the boat because I'm doing a car repair video coming up soon. So part of the channel is boating, boat tours, car and stealth camping, car repair videos. So I do have a stealth camping video coming up. So I'm working at Airport this week coming up, so I'm going to kind of stealth camp in the multi-story car park there. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then feel free to subscribe. I do have the jib cleaning project coming up as well, so if you guys know any good cleaning products to use for that, then please let me know in the description. That'd be fantastic. And then I need to fix the boost pipe on the car as well. So that's what a few of the videos coming up with. They're probably going to be the next 3 videos after this, and then back to hopefully another boat video. So a lot of you have really liked the tour videos, especially young Jimmy's boat, which is a Nauticat 33. That video's done very well, and he's very happy with it. There's a lot of upgrades that I'd like to do. So my radar is the old style one, that it is not compatible with any of my other gadgets on board. And for safety reasons, I do want to change that over. So I had a group of friends who sailed the south coast a couple of years ago, and they said that the sea fog was so thick that you couldn't even see the end of the boat. Now I do have AIS, which means other boats can see me and I can see them if they have AIS, but it is not a mandatory thing, it's optional. Most people do have it, but not everybody does, especially the kind of smaller fishing boats. So for me, that's a safety kind of priority. After doing the boat tour video with Russ with his Bavaria 36 and Jimmy with his Nauticat 33, both of them have installed electric heads, which are the electric toilets. Now I want to change mine over to that, and just like any other boat project, it's not just a case of changing the kind of toilet over, it's doing the wiring on top of that. And while you're doing the while you're changing the head, you may as well change the pipes, you may as well change the holding tank. So the one that I have in here is like a plastic one. The oven on here is a gas oven. Once I've switched over to lithium batteries, I'll probably switch that over to an induction hob. Though I do like the gas oven because it gives off a nice warm heat. But while I'm doing that, I may as well repair the fridge, the actual fridge that comes with the boat. And while I'm doing that, I may as well change the countertop because the laminate is kind of delaminated on certain parts where somebody has put something hot on there and it's kind of fizzled. But again, those aren't kind of necessary things that I need to do right away. And of course, everything is kind of compromise and progress as you go along. I'd also like to have carpet in here, so I have got a few friends who have installed carpet on their boats, and it's made a lot of difference, especially during the winter, to keep the heat in. Now I use this boat all year round, not necessarily sailing, but more for kind of like, you know, it's a floating apartment, coming over, partying, having a great time. And one of my projects is going to be put in this fridge freezer that I picked up because the fridge doesn't work on this boat. So I picked this up for, it was under £300. It's a very good dual zone fridge freezer, but what I want to do is I want to actually put it down here, which means cutting this unit out in order to put it on there and then put it on sliders. And then from there I'm thinking about putting some swivel base on top of here and like a proper chair, and do something about this chart table because it's not really being used at any point really. Another one of the projects that I'm planning to do this year is switching over the batteries to lithium battery series. So these batteries now are 4 years old. They're kind of like the older style batteries, and one time my friend, my neighbor, who I did a boat tour video with, Mike, with his Juno Odyssey 45, I'll leave the link there in the bottom, but he basically walked past my boat and something was beeping, so he came on board, and basically I'd left something on and basically it drained the batteries. So I do have 3 170 watt panels, but the winter with no sunlight, because you do need sunlight, not daylight, you do need sunlight for solar. Basically the battery's drained and kind of damaged, so since then they've not done very well. I've got around it by using my Bluetti power bank over there, which has been fantastic, but I want to change these over to lithium, and that means another upgrade. as part of the lithium battery upgrade, I'll need to upgrade the alternator. So I believe it's only a 70 amp one, and I'd also need to swap this out. So this is kind of the voltage sensor. It's the older one. Time that it takes to do boat projects, so it always takes you a lot longer than you expect. So it actually took me 43 days to paint the bottom of this boat. So when I first had it out, the person who had it before me had this self-eroding anti-fouling, which is a special paint on the bottom, which is meant to kind of slowly come off to stop things growing on the bottom. And I switched it over to this VC offshore stuff. Now this VC offshore stuff is great. This, however, goes between 100 and 140 pound for some paint. What makes this special paint is it has copper powder in the lid, so you basically decant it into there and mix it around and paint it on the bottom. But you don't need to use primer, so it kind of balances it out that you're using primer and then anti-fouling on top of that. I do need to buy one more can of this to do the bottom, so it probably just needs to touch up. Another project that I have to do this year is the dripper seal. Now this little rubber boot here, which goes on the shaft foot. So you have the engine, and then you have this long shaft, and then you have the propeller, but where it goes out to the bottom of the boat, you have this seal. So this seal here, that was 140 pound for this rubber boot. When I upgraded the boat with the new chart plotter, so I got the Garmin sail pack, which had basically this transducer inside, along with a few other instruments. I'll put a picture on the screen actually, like here, so you can see what I'm talking about, and the chart plotter. So this sensor does 5 different things. So one of it is measure the speed through the water, the depth, the temperature, the pitch of the boat, and something else. For these projects, I'll probably get somebody to help me, most likely Reeves Marine Services, which is the guy that I did the boat tour video last with, the Nauticat 33. Although he's very young, at 19 years old, he knows what he's doing. So very much trust him to help me out on this project, and I'll probably speak to him about installing this. It's probably going to be a few months away before I do these boat projects. If you are interested in knowing how much I've spent on the boat for the first 4 years of owning it, it is actually my most popular video, and I basically break down how I bought the boat. Since I've owned the boat, I've definitely had a lot of curveballs, and you know, I know a few other boat owners who have had the same thing, whether they've had engine failures or something happen in the family. For me, I was in an accident just before I brought the boat. So I brought this boat in 2019 in March, well, February, March. In 2018 in November, I was in an accident. So basically I was on the way to build a stand for a company. This car spins out of control on the motorway. He ends up facing the wrong way. I stop the van about 7 meters behind him, run over, get the guy out of the car, and then a lorry hits the van hits me, and basically my knee ends up going this way, which is obviously not the way it's meant to go. So I didn't really get any support. The agency that I was working for basically says, we won't charge you for the van, don't worry about it. But they didn't give me any financial support. I never got any financial support from the government either from there. Despite me working since the age of 16, I didn't get anything from them. And it was a very familiar story during lockdown. So the year after my accident, you had lockdown, so I had £10 a month furlough. So I managed to find a minimum wage gig to kind of, which was part-time, and then when they lifted lockdown, I ended up having a knee operation, and again I had 0 income for a few months as well, and then ultimately I ended up having to work 88 hours a week, and I did that for months, just to basically make up for lost time. So I was leaving 5 o'clock in the morning, getting to work at 6 AM, working all the way up until 10 PM, and then getting home between 11 and 12 PM depending on motorway closes, and then rinse and repeat Monday to Saturday. And I did that for months to kind of backpedal and pay off the boat. So there's been a lot of you know, a lot of challenges along the way. If you'd like to know the full story on that, then you can go into the link in the description, and it will take you to the video about the turbulent times that I've had. Last time I made a video and this was in the background, I did have quite a few people comment on it saying that it's really cool. I got it as a Christmas present from my boat neighbor Mike. He knows that I like gaming and stuff, so that's why he got it for me. But if I can find it on Amazon and put the link in, I will. But yeah, I'll ask him where he got it from, and then I'll put that in the description. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, guys, now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being fans.